Histology of liver and gallbladder. We know that liver is the largest gland of the body, situated in the right hypochondrium below the right dome of diaphragm in the abdomen. It secretes bile and performs major metabolic activities. We have studied that the liver is divided into a large right lobe and a small left lobe through the line of attachment of falciform ligament in the anterior surface, fissure for ligamentum teres on the inferior surface, and fissure for ligamentum venosum on the posterior surface. Coming to the blood supply of liver, liver has dual blood supply from portal vein and hepatic artery. Around 70% of nutrition is provided by portal vein, which carries blood from gut, pancreas and spleen containing absorbed substances, destroyed blood cells and secretions from pancreas and intestinal cells. And the remaining 30% nutrition is conveyed by hepatic artery. Both the vessels enter the liver at the porta hepatis, where bile duct and lymphatics leave the organ. Hence, the blood and bile travel in opposite direction within the parenchyma. Coming to the microscopic features of liver. We know that the liver is covered by a thin layer of connective tissue capsule known as Glissen's capsule. The liver is an accessory gland of gastrointestinal system made up of stroma and parenchyma. The stroma is an extension of Glissen's capsule and it branches extensively and divides the parenchyma of liver into classical liver lobules. Coming to the parenchyma, it consists of organized plates of hepatocytes separated by sinusoidal capillaries. The hepatic sinusoids are seen in between the cords of hepatocytes. They are fenestrated sinusoids lined by endothelial cells and Kupffer cells. Blood from the sinusoids open into the central vein that occupies the center of the lobule. Hence, hepatic sinusoids work in centripetal direction. From the central vein, blood drains into the hepatic vein. Hepatic lobules. Each hepatic lobule is hexagonal in shape with 1 mm width. Lobules are surrounded by scanty connective tissue. The central axis is occupied by central vein. From the central vein, cords of hepatocytes radiate outwards as plates or sheets of cells called hepatic laminae. About 20 hepatocytes are present in each lamina. The hepatocytes are separated by spaces known as hepatic lacunae, which are occupied by sinusoids. Hepatocytes are bathed in the sinusoidal blood. At the periphery, adjacent hepatic laminae join and form a limiting plate that overlies the portal canal. Limiting plate has perforations through which the venules and branches of hepatic artery opens into the sinusoids. Portal canal. They are angular intervals at the periphery of each lobule filled with connective tissue. Each canal consists of a radicle of portal vein, hepatic ductule and hepatic arteriole. They are collectively called portal triad. The blood vessels and the hepatic ductule present in the portal canal are surrounded by a narrow interval known as space of Mohn. The lymphatics of the liver begin in this space as blind radicals. Portal lobule. They are triangular territory of liver tissue with portal triad at the center and central vein at each corner of the triangle. It is called the nutritional lobule of the liver, obtained by joining the central vein of three adjacent hepatic lobules. Next is portal acinus. It is a diamond-shaped smaller unit of liver tissue supplied by one hepatic arteriole running along the line of junction of two hepatic lobules. Two central veins lies at the end of the acinus. They are called the functional unit of liver. The long axis of the acinus is formed by joining two central veins, and short axis is formed by joining the adjacent portal triads. According to the gradient of blood supply, the acinus can be divided into three zones. In this diagram, this is the portal canal and this is the central vein. And the zone 1 is the inner zone, that is around the hepatic arterioles, hence they are well oxygenated. Here the cells in this region are first to get oxygen, nutrients and also toxins from the sinusoidal blood, hence show morphological changes after bile duct occlusion early. And they are last to perish if circulation is impaired and first to regenerate. And zone 2 is moderately oxygenated, and zone 3 on the other hand is first to show ischemic necrosis on reduced perfusion and also fat accumulation. They are last to be affected by toxic substances and bile stasis. Canaliculi are spaces present between the plasma membranes of adjacent liver cells into which bile secreted by the liver cells is poured. At the periphery of the lobule, the canaliculi become continuous with intralobular ductules, which in turn continues with large interlobular ductules of portal triads. Hence, bile canaliculi functions in centrifugal direction. Next, coming to the cells of the liver, there are mainly three types of cells seen in the liver. The first one is hepatocyte. You can see this is a large hepatocyte. These are the sinusoids lined by the endothelial cells. The hepatocytes are large cells with round open nucleus and a prominent nucleoli. The cytoplasm contains numerous mitochondria, rough and smooth endoplasmic reticulum, well-developed Golgi complex, lysosomes and vacuoles containing various enzymes. All these features are correlated with its high metabolic activity. The second type of cell is the Kupffer cells. They are star-shaped cells lining the hepatic sinusoids. They are derived from the bone marrow and they belong to the mononuclear phagocyte system. Hence, they clear the cellular debris and microbes from the blood. The third type of cell is the Ito cells. They are also stellate-shaped cells present in the perisinusoidal space of Dissay. They are the primary storehouse of vitamin A. Space of Dissay. The surface of the liver cell is separated from the endothelial lining of the sinusoid by a narrow perisinusoidal space known as space of Dissay. The microvilli of the liver cell extend into this space and lie intimately related to the circulating blood. Some fat cells and Ito cells are seen in this space. They are intralobular compared to the space of mole, which are interlobular, which I have already mentioned. The surface of the hepatocyte can show three kinds of specialization. Coming to the sinusoidal surface, The cell surface adjoining the sinusoids bears microvilli that project into the space of Tisci. The cell surface also shows coated pits that are concerned with exocytosis. This feature helps in the active transfer of materials from the sinusoids to the hepatocytes and vice versa. About 70% of the surface of hepatocytes is of this type. The second is canalicular surface, and it shows longitudinal depressions that are opposed by similar depressions from the neighboring hepatocytes, and they form bile canaliculus. And the irregular microvilli project into the canaliculus. On either side of the canaliculus, the cell membrane of adjoining cells are united by junctional complexes. The third type is intercellular surface. Here, the areas of cell surface where adjacent hepatocytes are united to each other, just as in typical cells. The communicating junctions allow exchange between the cells. About 15% of hepatocyte surface is intercellular. Applied histology. First one is cirrhosis of the liver. Cirrhosis of the liver is a condition in which many hepatocytes are destroyed and the areas being filled with fibrous tissue. This gradually leads to collapse of normal architecture of the liver. One of the effects of cirrhosis is to disturb the flow of blood through the liver sinusoids. As a result of increased resistance to blood flow, there is increased blood pressure in the portal circulation, which can lead to a condition called portal hypertension. In portal hypertension, the anastomosis between the portal and the systemic veins dilate to form varices, and rupture of these varices can result in fatal bleeding. The inflammation of the liver is called the hepatitis. It can be either due to virus or due to amoeba. When large number of hepatocytes are destroyed, this leads to liver failure. It can be either acute or chronic. The accumulation of waste product in blood due to the lack of detoxification by the liver ultimately lead to unconsciousness, and the condition is called hepatic coma. And this is how we are seeing in the microscope. You can identify this is the central vein. This is the central vein, and you can identify the hepatocytes radiating from the central vein, and in between the sheets of hepatocytes you can identify the sinusoids. Also you can identify the portal triad here. This is how you have to draw the diagram in the record. Here you can identify this is a hepatic lobule surrounded by a thin layer of connective tissue, and this is the central vein. These are the hepatocytes radiating from the central vein, and in between you can identify the sinusoids. Here you can identify the portal triad. Coming to the histology of gallbladder. Gallbladder is a blind muscular sac situated on the visceral surface of liver. It stores and concentrates the bile. The bile is discharged into the duodenum through the cystic duct, and which joins with the common hepatic duct and forms the common bile duct. Coming to the microscopic features of gallbladder, it consists of an inner mucous membrane, a middle fibromuscular coat, and an outer serous layer. The mucous membrane. Mucous membrane consists of epithelium and the lamina propria. The epithelium is the simple, tall, columnar type with microvilli showing striated border. The mucous membrane is thrown into numerous folds which give a honeycomb appearance. Compared to small intestine, it does not contain goblet cells. The mucous glands and lymphatics are absent in the lamina propria. In gallbladder, the muscularis mucosa and the submucosa are absent. Sometimes Deep mucosal diverticula can extend into the fibromuscular cord and they are called Rokitansky-Ushoff sinuses. If present, they may contribute to a risk factor for stone formation and infection. The second layer is the fibromuscular cord. It is made up of connective tissue, mainly elastic and collagen fibers with some amount of smooth muscles. The third layer is the serosa. It has a lining of mesothelium resting on connective tissue. This layer contains large blood vessels, lymphatic network, nerve plexus along with elastic fibers and adipose tissue. Coming to the applied histology, the inflammation of the gallbladder is called cholecystitis and the stone formation in the gallbladder is called cholelithiasis. A gallstone passing through the bile duct can cause severe pain. This pain is called biliary colic. In such cases, the surgical removal of gallbladder is done and the procedure is known as cholecystectomy. The blockage of the bile duct by inflammation or gallstones or by carcinoma can lead to the accumulation of bile in the biliary duct system. As the pressure in the passage increases, bile passes into the blood leading to jaundice. The sclera, skin and the nail appears to be yellow in color and the bile salts and bile pigments are excreted in urine. The jaundice occurring as a result of such obstruction is called obstructive jaundice. This is how we are seeing in the microscope. Here you can identify these are the mucus folds. Here this is the lamina propria. This is the fibromuscular cord and here you can see the serosa. This is how you have to draw the diagram. Here you can see these are the tall columnar cells and these are the mucus fold. This is the lamina propria. This is a cut section of mucus fold. This is fibromuscular cord and this one is the serosa. Okay, thank you.